Hello guys, welcome to the first CSGO map making workshop, and today I'm your host Jay Matrix7689 Parekh. So right now, as you can see, I'm showing you the Steam overlay. That's because I have the first step obviously is that you need to install the required softwares to do CSGO map making workshop. So let's begin. It's very simple. We just have to go to this is your Steam overlay right now. You just go to under library, there's games. When you go to games, you can click on tools. Now under tools, there are a lot of different tools over here, but we just want to deal with one tool right now. That's Counter-Strike Global Offensive SDK. So it's pretty simple. You just have to go to library tools. You'll have to install the tool obviously, and yes, you have to own Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and you'll have to install the game because those are the base game files that you require for the tool. So let's just go ahead and start it up. I'll be talking more about the program once I start the hammer and show a bit of the tool to you all. So as you can see, this is the Hammer World Editor, Model Viewer, Waste Poser. These are different various applications under this CSGO SDK, which stands for Source Development Kit. In this, we are going to deal with Hammer World Editor, that is the map designing software. I'm going to go ahead and launch it. Alright, so this is the Hammer World editor right now. Just give me a second, I have to just do one thing. Yeah. So right now, this is the Hammer World editor. Before I start showing you guys the tool and the various aspects of it, I would like to talk a bit about this program that's going to happen for around 7 weeks every Monday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. So basically, the thing is that we want to give something to the community, try to impart some knowledge to everyone else out there in the Indian CSGO community, not just India, I mean internationally also. So basically, I will be talking. This is like a 7 week series about CSGO map making. It's a workshop where I teach you guys basics and how to make your own CSGO map. And since it's a live stream, you guys can feel free and go ahead and ask any questions on the YouTube chat. I'm always looking at it. If you have any questions, I'll answer to them immediately. So anything you want to know, like how to do this, how to do that, if you didn't understand something, then you can ask me and I'll let you know like immediately. So for any support, you can go there. Also, one more thing, you can go to our Teamspeak server, ts.dractodet.com. I think the link's down in the description. Over there you can go. There's this I think a channel called CSGO map making workshop. There are a lot of administrators over there. So if you have any other doubts, you can ask them. They are always there to help you out. And alright, so let's begin with the CSGO map making workshop, first day. So before we go ahead into this, I would like to tell you that it might look confusing once I start, but it's pretty simple. You just like once you use it a lot and practice on it, you'll find it very simple later on. So I'm just going to go ahead and start it over here. This is the Hammer World editor. As you can see, you'll have to go to File and you have to open. You can create a new map. So when you click on a new map, you will be open with these 4 sections. Now don't get confused or scared. It's pretty simple. I will get into each section or each window as I see it one by one. So actually for this tutorial, I have already made a map, so I'll just show it to you all. Now I will explain to you guys what exactly are we seeing here. Now over here is the camera. So basically it's like a live footage that you want to see of the map, like a preview type. It's not fully rendered, like there's no lighting effect, nothing else, but the basics of it. You can see how it looks without any lighting or much of effects. So this is the camera. Then this is the top grid. This is the side grid. And this is the front grid. I'll come to these grids a bit later on. First, let's try to understand what the camera is. So the first thing that you need to do is go to camera. By default, it will be on 3D shaded textured polygons. I would recommend not to do that because it gives you kind of a wrong vibe about the map. It doesn't give you the exact view of it, and most of the mappers don't use it. It's up to you, your choice, but I prefer to use 3D textured. Okay, so 3D texture is basically, I'll explain to you now. When it comes to the Hammer World editor, we are basically dealing with a 3D map making software. It's 3-dimensional, so there's X, Y and Z, like this. X, Y and Z axis. So there are 3 axes. I'll be talking about each axis one by one slowly. So as we can see, I have created this cube over here depicting this thing like 6 different surfaces. I'll get to that in a while. So camera like in camera you do 3D textured. Alright, so it gives you the textures, the look of all the blocks that you're creating. Any part of the map you can see with 3D textured. You can see how it looks with textures but no lighting or etc. Alright, so now I will show you guys in camera how do you control the camera. So what you need to do is just put your cursor, hover it over camera, press the Z key, then you will see a kind of an X like this. Just move your mouse now, that's it. Just move it however. Now it's like you are the camera control. You can go to any angle of the map and see it however you want. Now this is at a fixed position right now. So now you just move your mouse like this to look around. Now if you say you want to go closer to the object, so you press W. So it's like your game, like W to go ahead, A to go left, T to go right and S to go behind. So it's pretty simple, you'll get used to it. So I'll repeat again in a slow way. First you hover your mouse on the camera window, you press Z. Once you press Z, the X should come. Then you can move your mouse to look around, and then you can press W, A, S, and D to move around it. So right now I'm giving you like a small tour of this cube that I've made. So it's very simple. So the two things that you need to do is coordination with your WASD and your mouse, and which I'm pretty sure you gamers are pretty much aware of how to do all that. So I am showing you all the 6 surfaces of this cube. Now why I have chosen this cube is because I have a real life object which is pretty much similar to what I've what I've made. So what I've done is I have a 2 by 2 cube which has 6 surfaces. As you can see, white, there's green, there's red, there's blue, and there's yellow and orange. Yes, so 6 surfaces, and I've exactly made this pretty much similar object in the hammer bolt editor in like about 30 seconds. So basically I'm trying to show you guys that you can create any 3-dimensional real life object in hammer, and most of the map makers usually take their inspiration from real life objects, although there are some abstract mappers who make their own imagination or use their own uh, basically they use their own imagination, and they're known as abstract mappers, which is like, even I'm one of the abstract mappers. If you have seen any of my maps of Lego vagera, you can see that those are abstract maps. I will talk about my maps a bit later. First I'll just tell you guys about a bit of the basics. So as you can see, this is a 2 by 2 cube, and let's see in the camera if you can see there's the yellow, my bad, the white, the orange, and the blue. So right now it's like you are the camera. So you are looking at it from one point of view, right? This is like, you guys are the camera guys, so you can see you're seeing it from one point of view, but the object is fixed. If you move around the camera, you can see from different parts of it. All right, so that is what exactly the camera is. The object stays as it is, but you are the camera guy. You can look around it from anywhere. You can look from bottom, you can look from top, left, right, however you want. You are the camera control. All right, simple. Now coming to the 3 grids. The 3 grids, basically, as I said, it's 3-dimensional. So there's X, there's Y, and there's Z. All right, X, sorry about that, X, Y, and there's Z. So there are 3 axes. Now the thing is, since it's 3-dimensional, X, Y, and Z, there are different views of looking. If you guys have ever done graphs or any kind of graphs in maths or statistics or whatever, you might be knowing what an X and Y axis is. It's a simple 2-dimensional graph. That's 2-dimensional. That's where you deal with X coordinates and Y coordinates. But in 3-dimensional, you deal with Z coordinates, which make it real life objects. And right now, obviously, we live in a 3-dimensional world. So whatever, and also obviously CSGO is a 3-dimensional game. So obviously we have to make the map in a 3-dimensional. Although back in Counter-Strike, I think Counter-Strike 2D, that was a game long ago, CS 2D, that had 2-dimensional mapping, only X and Y coordinates. Alright, so now we've come to 3-dimensional mapping since the birth of Half-Life 2 and Counter-Strike Source, and also Half-Life. So since then, we are dealing with 3-dimensional map making. Now it's pretty simple. Now you just take take your graph paper. All right, just take your graph paper as it is. I'll just get an example. This is your graph paper. This is your X. This is your Y. So now your Z is your basically the width. The outward axis. I'll give a pencil here. So this is the X. So as the pencil is the X, this is the Y, and this is the Z. All right. So these are 3 axes we're going to deal with. Yeah. So X, Y, and Z. Just get that in your brains, because that is the most important part about this. You need to have a proper understanding and imagination in the 3 axes. Otherwise, you cannot do map making. Like, it will be hard for you, but you need to understand what is X, Y, and Z. You need to know that this is a coordinate. This is where it's positioned in the X, Y, and Z. You have to imagine it 3-dimensionally. Like you can say, I'll do another example. You can say this is the origin. Origin is basically 0, 0, 0. Those are the base coordinates of any graph. If you guys know what a graph is, like X and Y coordinates, the origin is like the center part of it. When 2 lines intersect, this is the center. That's 0, 0. In 3-dimensional, we'll have 0, 0, 0. So let's say I create a vector. Vector is like, I shouldn't say vector, it's a bit technical, but yeah. So this is 0, 0, 0. This is 1, 1, 1. Alright, so you guys need to know what are the coordinates. 000 and 111, however. So let's move on. I'm pretty sure that now you guys know what are the x, y, and z axes is and how to deal with the coordinates. You get used to it. It's pretty simple. Now, obviously, it's not this thing. Like we will be dealing with the three different grids. Now, I'll explain to you each grid one by one. Over here is the top grid. Top grid means the x and y. So let's consider. Okay, this is your cube. So this is your cube, right? The white surface is on the top. So if you're looking at from a top view, so let's assume you guys are the top. So you should only be able to see the white surface, right? The white surface. So that is what the top surface is here. So yeah, right now I'm using my scroll wheel to zoom in, and this is the grid. I'll explain to you all the grid once I explain to you all what is top, side, and front. So basically these are like fixed 90-degree views of the objects that are there in your map. Like you can look at it from one angle, and this angle. This is how map making the grids are. There's a top view, there's side view, and there's a front view. Front and side are pretty much similar, just the YZ coordinates are changed. But yeah, your most important is like you need to use all the three grids. Some map makers usually use two grids because two are more than enough. Now top XY is, as I said, the top view. Okay, the top view. X and Y, you're looking at it from the top. So if you guys are the top, you'll only see the white surface. Now we're looking at the side, the XZ. So that's let's see, this is X, this is Y, this is Z. So XZ means this side. So basically the like if you're, I'll show it on the camera, it'll be better. So it's like looking from this side, you'll only see the orange surface, and then there is the front side, that is this, the blue surface. All right, so top, side, the blue surface, yeah, side and front. All right, three parts of the grid. So right now what the grid means, I'll come to that now. It's pretty obvious by now if you guys don't know, but okay. So we have the top, near the side, and the front. These are the three grids. Now making a map in CSGO, like the Hammer World Editor tool, the basically it's like if you guys ever have played Minecraft, if you've seen, you create everything block by block, right? You like place a block in the world and then you place like anything, whatever you want, right? You place it block by block, and also Minecraft and everything in Minecraft is made block by block. So with that concept, a map made in Hammer is also made block by block. Like literally, I'm not even kidding. Most of the objects that are created are made block by block. All right. So only difference here is in Minecraft it's a square block. Over here you can change the size however. You can have it a triangle, not necessarily a block, a triangle, a rectangle, cuboid, however you want. The shapes are like a lot of possibilities of shapes. Now coming to the basics of the grid. The grid is the most important thing. You have to have a certain set of rules and regulations for using the grid. Otherwise your map isn't good and you might get low FPS. So you have to stay on grid. On grid is the term. So you have to I think it's in tools if I'm right. Snap on grid, where is it? Yeah, it's in maps. So if you click on maps, the map part on the top right, if it's showing you guys, it's not showing you guys, sorry about that. So if you click on this top part map, it has a part under it called snap to grid. So basically snap to grid means whenever you create an object in this three-dimensional grid, it stays on the boxes. Alright, as I said, everything is made block by block, right? So the grid is basically like a kind of a, how do I explain to this? Wait. So it's kind of a huge plate and you can use it however you want. You can shape it however you want. Okay, so the grid gives it a fixed shape. All right, so you can use certain like shapes however you want, but the grid gives it the stability to keep it intact and to keep it optimized and to use so that it's best to use it in the map. And obviously if you want good FPS, you should keep it on grid. So on grid basically means right now like if you can see this object, it's in blue color. This is the borders of the object. This is the top view, right? So this is the top view. It is on grid, like it's on this line. So now I can extend the object height, width, and as you can see over here, it's changed from the top view. So like actually I've just added an extra part from the top, alright, from the top. Since it's a top view, we added an extra part here and an extra part here. Okay, so that's dealing with the top view and that's dealing with the grid. So on the grid, you can create any kind of an object you want and keep it snap on grid so that it's like, fixed, and you give it a proper this thing, dimension and everything. Now, after that, we have the side view. Side view and front view should be self-explanatory by now. Those are also similar grids. Just the coordinates are different. Now let's see the side view. I'll show you guys. I will now okay. I will now change the side view. That means actually this side. My bad. I can increase its width and everything like this. All right. That's what the side view does. And then this is the front view. I can create it like this. Okay. So now I made it a 96 by 96 block. Now, okay, so basically, if you guys have made like seen graphs, they have a unit scale of x and y, right? Like x scale 1 centimeter 1 unit, y is 1 centimeter 1 unit, like that, right? So what we are dealing here is basically 1 unit is like a hammer. It's like a world. It's one hammer world unit that is of the grid. There is no 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter. It's hammer world units. So over here, I'll tell you guys how it looks like. How you like. How do you know that how much is 1 unit in game? Like in game 1 centimeter is it or 1 unit? That I will show you guys eventually. So basically, we were dealing with grid units, and powers of 2 are usually the best grid units to work with, like 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024. All powers of 2 are the best to work with, but yeah, obviously you can choose any other value in the middle. Most of the map makers prefer to use powers of 2. So as you can see here, you can see 96 by 96. That means 96 is this, if it's an xy coordinate, yeah. So this is the x length is 96, the y length is 96. Alright. I can change the y length however I want. I can change the x length also however I want. It's up to me. Alright. I'll get to these tools later on. Right now I'm trying to tell you guys what exactly is the grid, because the grid is the most important aspect. If you guys understand the grid, map making will be pretty simple for you. Alright, so everything in mapping is about the imagination in the three-dimensional grid. So as I said, there are 3 grids. There's top xy, there's side xy, xz, and front yz. Now, coming to the top part of it, as I was saying, the grid, right? So in a graph, you have seen small minute boxes, right? Those are also grid units, correct? So now consider a three-dimensional part of the graph, like just the graph. Actually, these are graphs. If you can think about it, top xy, side xz, and front xz are nothing but 3 graphs, graph papers. I don't have one right now, but yeah. So these graph papers are small boxes. So basically, those boxes represent a square unit, right? Because it's x into y. X is 1 unit and y is 1 unit. So one box is 1 squared unit. Alright, so over here also we are dealing with the squared units of the object. Now if you can see over here, this is the top xy coordinates, top xy view, my bad. And in that we can see that each box is a particular squared unit. Now if you can see on my screen, I don't think so you guys can see it, but a grid has a scale, right? Like you can, there are different types of graphs: 2 centimeter graphs, 1 centimeter graphs. 2 centimeter graphs means that 2 centimeters square unit is 1 block. 1 centimeter, like 1 centimeter unit square block. So now if you can see, this is 1 square block, and I have the grid snap on grid, which is 16. I don't think my camera is covering it actually, but actually I'll just show it to you guys. One second. Thank you Kanwardeep Singh for the subscribe. Please come every week daily to check out our streams, and yeah, thank you for the subscription. So sorry guys, I can't show you guys the snap on grid. So basically a grid has a particular scale. That's a powers of 2, as I said, powers of 2. It can be 1 also, because 2 raised to 0 is 1. Yeah, obviously. So now I'm dealing with a grid scale of 16, which means this one block that you see is 16 square units. Alright, 16 square units. So it has a height and a width of 16. You see each block that I create, and since it's snap on grid, whatever I create over here, it's in powers of 16. If you notice anything that I'm just moving my mouse here, I'm not pressing anything on my keyboard, I'm just moving my mouse. Powers of 16. If I now there is a key on the keyboard which if you want to change the scale, there is a bracket next to your enter key. There are box brackets, right? So if you press the one next to the P, that decreases your grid. Now it can be my snap-on grid is 8. So now anything I make now hasn't isn't dimensions of 8. So 8 by 8, 32 by 32, 8 by 24, however I want. So this snap-on grid's best part is that you can choose a particular base snap of the grid on powers of 2, that is 0, sorry 1, 2, 4, 6, sorry 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128 and 256, 512. Alright, so that's, I think that's more than enough for snap-on grid. Um, yeah, why I'm telling you guys so much about snap-on grid is that if you make a habit right now of using the grid properly, then your maps will be really good, optimized, and there won't be any leaks. I'll tell you guys about the leaks later on. That's a bit later on, like advanced thing. Hey, what's up, Jaideep Sood? Thank you for the subscription. Please join us whenever we subscribe and click on the bell icon to come to know whenever we are live streaming. Alright, so coming back now, as I said, you can create snap-on grid and then you can just shift it also. Yeah, also best part of snap-on grid is it doesn't go off the grid. Like you cannot, right now I'll just show you guys, wait. Right now, if I do it like this, right, if I just keep it in the middle, it will not be well optimized because it's off the grid. And then Hammer will make a lot of, when it's compiling the map, there'll be a lot of complications, and it's always advisable to be on snap-on grid, alright? So I'll tell you guys how I did that, but that's later. Alright, so snap-on grid is done. I have told you guys about the side view, the top view, the front view, and the camera, of course. Okay, so I'll just talk a bit more exactly in short. What is all this? Camera is how you can see the real map. Then, what else is there? The top view is how you see it from the top, and then the side view is how you see it from a side, and then the front view is how you see the real life object in the front. 3 different views. And from the camera, you press Z, your mouse and WASD, you can move around however you want. The object stays as it is. It's just that you the moves. This is the camera and this is the object. You can go however you want. You get different angles so that you can see how the map looks, like a preview, like a small preview. You can just see how it looks, how it fits, etc. Alright, so let's deal a bit with the tools now. I'm coming to the different tools that you can see over here. Right now I've taught you guys the most essential part of map making, that is the heart of it, the 3 grids and the camera. I call these the 4 windows, and yeah, it's adjustable. You can just take your mouse to the center and just see if you want more of the camera. If you want to see more, just increase the camera. What's up, hey Lamau? Hey Lamau! Thank you for subscribing. Please click on the notification, the bell, so you can get to know whenever we are live streaming. Alright, so let's continue. So as I said, you can move around with the camera, the 4 grids, the 4 windows. Alright, now I will explain to you guys these tools that you can see. The selection tool, the magnify tool, which is not used much, the camera tool not used much, entity tool very important, block tool is your entire map's basis, texture tool, apply current texture not used much but I'll get there, and decal. Hello Pappu Chamman, thank you for the subscribe. Please click on the bell below so that you can receive the notifications of whenever we're streaming. And actually guys, thank you Neeraj, if I can say Neeraj Kohli, yes, thank you for the subscription. Thank you guys for subscribing. We will be streaming every week, not just map making, different things will be covered on. You can check out our Facebook page over there, all the details are there, and all the links are given in the description. Please check it out. Alright, so coming back to the map, as I said, we are done with these 4 parts of it: the camera, front, side, and the top view. Coming to the tools, we have the vertex tool, clipping tool, and the water apply overlay, sorry, and the decal. Those are a bit advanced. I'll teach you guys that later. Today we will deal with the selection tool and the block tool and the texture tool. Sorry, I just need a bit of water. Alright, sorry about that. So coming back, as I said, we'll be dealing with the selection tool. So when you create your first map, let's just create a new map for you guys so that you don't get too much by it. So by default, you'll be having the camera selected on 3D shaded texture polygons. I would recommend to change it to 3D texture. Alright, so now the first thing that you do is go to your block tool. You want to create like a ground of the map, obviously you need a ground. You click on the block tool and then you shift your cursor to any of these grids. So right now we'll deal with the top view because obviously from the top you want to see, you can see the entire ground, right? Like if this is your ground and like, yeah, if it's this big, so you'll see it from the top view, right? Not from the side view. You don't want it like this. You don't want it to be a huge wall, right? So we'll be looking from the top view. Block tool, we go to the top view, as I said, top XY, and we'll be creating a block. And my grid is right now on 64. So every like as I move my mouse however I want right now, it will be on powers of 64, which is the best. I would recommend to say powers of 2. I would recommend to keep it usually 16, 32 and 48. Thank you Nikhil Muni for the subscription. Please check out all our this thing content on our website, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, and also click on the bell below so that you can get to see receive any notifications whenever we're streaming, and all the links are down below, guys. Okay, so as I said, top view, we created a block here. Now what I did is, since it's a bit above, so I'm just shifting the ground a bit below. I can shift the ground from these sides. Oh my bad, I have made a mistake, my bad. Yeah, I've created, so right now let's just leave it like this. I've created a huge box of 1024 by 1024 length and width. All right, and once you do this, make sure it's in white color. If you I think some guys might be on the selection tool and doing it like this. Selection tool is something else entirely. Selection tool will look yellow and block tool will be in white. So I'll explain to you guys. All right, so block tool, right? Yeah, coming back. Also, whenever you switch tools and you come back to the block tool, your previous block that you had semi created stays as it is. What's up, Raga City? Thank you for the subscription. Please check out all the links below, and also click on the bell so that you get any notifications whenever you're streaming. So I have created the block right now, and you simply press enter. So now you have created your first block, your first base block in CSGO map making. All right. Now, what's up, Venkateshwaran Subramaniam? Thank you for subscribing. Software. Okay. I have already covered this in the beginning, but I'll tell you guys again. CSGO SDK, Counter Strike Global Offensive Source Development Kit. Just simply go to your Steam, go to library. Under library, there's games, right? You just change it to tools, and then you click on CSGO SDK, install that, and in that you go to Hammer. Alright, if you still didn't understand, just message us on Facebook and I'll let you know in private message. Okay, now since I've created this block, now we have created a first block. So obviously right now you'll be seeing everything in black. Now why is that? Because the camera, whenever you create a new map, the camera is by default in a position of 0, 0, 0 origin. So if you think about it, you're actually inside the center of the block. You're stuck inside, so you can't see anything from inside. So you have to step outside, right? So you go to your camera view, press Z, and then just press S. Just get out of it a bit. And yeah, sorry about that, I just changed the texture. That might hurt your eyes, that's why. Alright, I'll explain to you what the texture is very important. So now, as you can see, I just press Z once, that the X comes, and then you move your mouse WASD to move around and see how your map looks. As I said once again last time, I'll just show you guys. This is your ground. You're actually just visiting around. The ground is not moving with you. You are moving around the ground. All right. So this is our ground, the first ground that we have made, and I am hovering around it by pressing Z and then WASD and the mouse. So this is the camera tool and the block tool covered up. Now let's say I didn't like where it's positioned. You want to shift it a bit down or a bit left. So simply you go and click on the select tool, this cursor, click on the select tool, and then you can click over here in the camera. Through the camera you can select it, or you can click on the borders. You have to be a bit precise, but people usually go to the camera. And if you want to unselect it, just click on any part outside this, like here or here, anything outside. All right. So you want to, if you want to shift this block a bit below, you select it first from the select tool. then you move your cursor to whichever like from whichever side you want to decrease. Now let's say this is your ground, you want it to go a bit below, so obviously you will deal with the side or the front view. You won't do it from the top, right? From the top you'll just shift it like this. It's two-dimensional. These grids are two-dimensional, but the camera is three-dimensional. So if you're looking at it from the top, you can only shift it like this. But if you're looking at it from here, this side, you can shift it like this. Oh my bad, sorry. You can shift it like this. Alright. So we are gonna shift this a bit below. I'll just shift the camera a bit here. I want to put this a bit below. I don't like where it's positioned, so I'll just take I'll go to the front view or the side view. You can choose any one, and just drag it down. Simple. Just drag it. It's just dragging it. It's nothing much complicated. Also, thank you Chetan Bhai for the subscription. Please check out all the links down in the description. So if you now there are different things you can do with the block. If you click on the right now, if you click it once now, you see these 3, 1, 2, 3, 6 and 8. Yeah, that should be 8. 8 parts, these white dots that you can see. Those are from where you can expand the blocks. Like you want to increase the length of it. So if you go to top view, you see this, right? You just hover your mouse over this, and then you can just increase the length up and down, however you want. Now let's just go to top view and I'll show you how guys it looks. So right now I'm doing this. I can shift it left, right, however I want. You can do it up, down. But if you notice, since you're in the top view, this stays constant. This part stays constant. Whatever I do, it doesn't go down or it doesn't go above. It will only go left, right. Because you're dealing it from the top view, from that perspective. From that perspective, it's only X and Y coordinates. You don't deal with Z. You don't make any changes to Z. That is why it stays as it is. This is a very important thing. People usually get confused between the grids. Now, as I said, we are dealing with the XY thing, and now if I want to shift it below, just go to the front other side and shift it below. Simple. You can do it from this part also. Yeah. One thing I didn't tell you guys about the grid. Every map has an origin, and every graph also has an origin, right? 0, 0, the base point, the center. So in map also, there's a center, which is of XYZ coordinates 0, 0, 0, and that is indicated by these two blue lines. If you can see, I've zoomed out a bit to show you exactly. You can see that one horizontal and one vertical blue lines, two blue lines. Wherever they intersect is the origin, and that is with all the 3 axes. If you can see, they all 3 have this blue line joining, so that is the center of your map. And obviously, whenever you load the map, and then the first load, whenever you get in hammer, your camera is at the origin, so it'll be inside the blue thing. All right. So usually people tend to keep the map symmetrical. Symmetrical means how this cube is, cut it in half, the left side and the right side is the same. Forget about the color. So to keep the map symmetrical, they usually keep everything centralized, so that if you click on the center, like if you just click on the object to know if it is symmetrical, you can see these dots, right? This is a small trick that I use. If you click on the object, you can see the white dots. They are on the blue line. Right, that means it is symmetrical from all the parts. Sri Hariram Chabi Wala. Sorry about that, but thank you for the subscription. Please click on the bell below so that you can receive all the notifications whenever you're streaming, and all the links are down below. So as I said, this is a small trick that I like to use. These white dots are on the blue lines, which shows exactly whether it's symmetrical or not. So if you see now, I just put it in half. Right now it's cut into half from here. It's not exactly symmetric because on the other side it's not there, right? I'll shift it a bit here. Now it's also not symmetric. You can see like some part of it over here, that part is left out. They're too intense for your brain. You should have come a bit earlier, but don't worry, this stream is recorded. Later on, and I think in a few 3 to 4 hours, you can see the recorded stream and you can learn from there. All right. Okay, so coming back, I will shift this to this center, and you can see X and Y, and you can clearly see that it's symmetrical. Why I am imposing so much on symmetrical is because most of the maps are symmetrical. I like to keep it symmetrical, although the default maps made by CSGO aren't symmetrical. Dust 2 is not symmetrical. Aztec, Office, Dust, whatever map Valve has made is not symmetrical. Yeah, so Now when you continue, now let's see if I've made this base, right? Alright, now I have showed you guys how to shift it up and down, how to resize it. You can resize it, yeah. If you want to resize it from this part, you can, like, if you guys have ever dealt with paint, photoshop, anything like that, two-dimensionally, you can two-dimensionally extend the object however you want. It's your choice. You are the map maker, you can do a lot of things. Okay, now whenever you create a block, it has 6 different surfaces as shown by this cube: top, bottom, and the 4 sides, obviously. So whenever you put a block, which I have told you guys that the base of the map is that each thing is made by blocks. What's up, Ankit Kumar? Thank you for the subscription. Please check out all the links down in the description. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and click on the bell icon to receive any notifications. So as I said, everything is a block. Everything has 6 dimensions: top, bottom, 4 sides. For every face, my bad. So all the faces. So every face has different textures. Thank you, Jasraj Singh, for subscription. Please check all the links down below. Alright, so continuing. As I said, there are 6 different faces. That means you can apply different textures on each side. It's not necessary that they all have to be different, like, one surface is green, one surface is orange. It can be different. You can keep everything white. Alright, so this is a very important thing to tell you guys, because everything is made block by block and each block has a certain number of surfaces. Now since it's a default block, it's a cuboid, yes, cuboid, it has 6 surfaces. So now let's say you want to, right now I have created if you create the block just like this, it has some default texture which you want to change. Now let's say this is your map, this is your ground, right, and this is your player. So below the player there has to be some kind of grass or some kind of a dirt that you want to just play on. Now if you think about it, the players don't really go, if it's a normal map, like for right now we'll just assume that the player doesn't go below, so he doesn't see the sides of the part. So we will say, now if you think about it, it's a ground, right? So only the top surface will be textured with some grass. All the other 5 surfaces will not be used. So for optimization's sake, we will never apply any textures there. So if you never want to apply a texture, not see it in game, you will use the texture known as node draw. What's up, Mihir Bandal? Thank you for the subscription. Please check out all the links down in the description below. Alright, so as I said, we are going to like consider that we have to take a flat surface and you want to put grass on top. So we are going to now use the texture tool. Thank you, Chaitanya Harilal Sri Krishna Binbob, for the subscription, and nice name, man. Keep it up. So now we will go to the toggle texture application, that tool which you can see. There are 2 ways to open it, actually 3 ways. I use shortcut keys since I've been mapping for so long. I use a shortcut key called Shift plus A. In Shift plus A, it's basically called the face edit sheet. So as I said, each block 6 faces, you edit it, right? So face edit sheet, simple. So we can go to face edit sheet by pressing Shift plus A, or you can just go to this over here below the block tool. As you can see, it looks like a cube, exactly what I am depicting. Now coming to this, it might look a bit complicated, but it's pretty simple, trust me. Thank you, Dipyasashi Biswas, for the subscription. Please check out all the links down below. Now we have material and displacement. Displacement is a bit advanced, we'll come to that later, so stay tuned. We have like 7 weeks of workshop. You can always understand whenever in the future, and you can always ask us questions. So in material, we'll come to texture, scale, and shift slowly one by one. Thank you, your mom. Great name. I have been wrecked officially. Please check out all the links below. Yeah. Okay. So the current texture I've used is no draw. As I said, whenever it's a ground, you're not concerned with any of these 5 surfaces. You just want the top. If you want the top, you will make everything else no draw. Because if you keep it no draw, your map is more optimized. You get a bit more FPS. You might it'll be like it'll be very minute, but it makes a difference when your map is huge. Okay. So right now what I have done is I had selected, before creating a block, I had by default selected texture, which you can now, this is the textures tool, Shift plus A, you go to browse. These are a lot of textures that you can apply on the surfaces of the block. If you go there, you can, so I was no draw, right? Type no draw, this is the no draw texture tool. Now when you put the no draw texture tool, you can apply it everywhere. Thank you, Ask Kiko, for the subscription. Please check the links down below in the description. Now the node draw tool, right? So if you want to create a block, I would always recommend you to, before creating it, choose a texture by default, say node draw, and then if you want to create a block over here, you press enter as I said, and now all the 6 surfaces of the block are of that texture. If you don't do that, let's say you by mistakenly take grass and you create the block like this, all your 6 surfaces are grass, which is not what we want right now. It's not good to have this in my opinion. So yeah, I'm going to delete this right now. Okay, so now we have this current texture over here. It's very important on the right. Current texture, whatever texture is over there, you can apply over here. Now you press shift plus A. Once you press shift plus A, you can go to your camera tool, or you can press Z. You can still access it. You don't need to switch this on. This is always on. It's like a background window. So you press Z, you can move around with it. Say I want to place it on the bottom, which I don't know who will do, but yeah, it's a wild word out there, man. You press right click. Pretty simple. It's like painting. Texturing is like painting your map. It's fun. So I have just made the entire bottom of it grass, which is not practical, but you can do it. Hammer, you can do anything. Trust me. So I have just simply, I'll show it to you guys again slowly. Press shift plus A, go to browse, select a particular texture. You can search if you want dirt, just search dirt. You can find dirt over here, however you want. You can find grass, you can find however you want. Thank you Gangadhar Shaktiman for a subscription. Please check all the links down below the description. So yeah, now the grass, this is the grass texture that I have by default. So as I said, you select it from the browse, select a texture, double click on it, pretty simple, and then you hover your mouse over in the camera. Yeah, it works only in the camera, not in the grids. Very important to note. The texture tool will only work on the camera. It will not work on the grids. So you need to deal with the camera. But yeah, you can just hold Z and just right click. Simple. It's painting. It's literally painting. It's not complicated. Now every texture is like basically powers of 2, as I said before. So these textures are powers of 2. It's a proper square. So if you want to deal with it, like make this more tiled, right? You want to make it more tiled, you can just change the texture scale. So first you'll have to select the tool. Let's just say you want to edit the face of this surface only. You just want to edit this surface. It's pretty simple. You select that surface. So you don't select the brush. Never do that. If you want to just edit one surface of it, first select the brush. Unselect it by clicking outside. Press shift plus A. And then just click left click, not right click, left click to select. Now whenever you select it, right, by default it will look orangish to give you a hint what part have you selected. So this is a bit orangish. Yeah. Now the texture scale, as I was saying, if you want to tile it more or make it bigger and smaller, you mess around with these values, texture scale. Now if I want it to be bigger, like I want this square to look bigger, so I'm going to make this exactly 4 times. 4 into 0.25 should be 1. If my maths is always intact, which is, as you can see now, the textures, it looks much bigger now. If you want to see how it will look in game a bit, I can show you guys. I'll just place a player entity here, so you can see how big it will look. So you can just assume that you are the player. I've just placed a proper terrace spawn. You can just think of it as if he is the actual person. So as you can see, it will be like that big according to him. So if I want, I will just decrease the texture scale. I would recommend you to use 0.25 by 0.25. It's a very common value. So yeah, 0.25 0.25 texture scale, and this is the terrace spawn. I can just like, yeah, I've just adjusted the scale of the texture so you can make it, you can increase it or decrease it however you want. Texture shift is a bit advanced. Like it's actually like if you want to let's say just want only half of this, right? So you will not X, you'll deal with the Y. So I'll just shift this a bit ahead, 16 units, 50 units, 64 units, that's up to you. So yeah, I just shifted it a bit. Yeah, that texture scaling is a bit advanced. I'll get to that later on. There are a lot of things when it comes to textures, a lot of basic aspects. Yeah. Okay, now there's one habit that I want to tell you guys. Whenever you're map making, at times, since it's a Valve software, there are most of the times that the Hammer World Editor crashes. There are a few problems with it. It's just been like that always, but it's a good tool, trust me. So if it's a good habit that whenever you're creating your map, like just save it as something. Right now I'm going to save it as tutorial 1. Alright, I've saved it as a tutorial. So I always recommend you guys to save your map. I'm pretty sure if you deal with Photoshop also, you always save your document after any changes, right? Even your Word docs or anything. So same thing with your maps, you just keep saving it. Also same key, obviously control plus S. So I have a habit of always saving the map whenever I make any changes. Thank you, Sec Tix. Like after your mom, yeah, please just send me, I'll fuck you also. It's great. Anyways, thank you for the subscription. Please check all the links down below. Now, as I said, I lost myself now. The textures. Were there other textures? Yeah, I think the pretty much the textures. You can choose whichever texture you want on any surface. You can adjust it, shift it a bit left, shift it a bit right, increase the scale, however you want. It's up to you. You're the map maker. And what else is there? It might be a bit, yeah, I was talking about saving maps. Yes. So it's very important to save your maps because Hammer tends to crash. Sometimes it has an auto save feature, but I recommend you to always save it. So yeah, just control S. So I have a habit whenever I'm mapping, even some small change also, like if I just shift the player a bit from year to year, I'll still press control S. I have a habit because I have had some experience before. Like I designed a great map and my Hammer crashed. I lost all my work. So it's always recommended to always save it, right? So control S. And yeah, that's pretty basics of what we've covered right now. So okay, so I'm just going to run through what we've done exactly today, and for those people who've just tuned in, I'll give a brief of what just happened in this today's tutorial. I had shown you guys how to install CSGO SDK, Counter Strike Global Offensive Source Development. It is inside your Steam library. Games can just click on games and then go to tools, CSGO SDK. Just download, install that. Obviously, you need to own the game and you should have it installed. After you launch it, you launch Hammer World Editor. Inside CSGO SDK, there will be a lot of options. Just select Hammer World Editor. This software that we are dealing with for map making in CSGO is Hammer World Editor. Now in Hammer World Editor, I showed you guys the concept of the 4 windows. The concept of the 4 windows is very important, as you can visualize and imagine anything in these 4 windows. It's the base of it. The rest are just extra features that you can customize and make your things objects much better, right? So the 4 windows, the camera is however you want to look at an object from any angle. The object stays as it is. Then you have the 3 grids: the top, the side, and the front, right? Top, side, and front, however you want, you can look at it. And then the camera is also there, as I shown you guys. Grid is very important. You should have a snap-on grid, so that whenever you create a block using the block tool, now I'm talking about the tools. When you come to the block tool, you can create any block in this snap of grid. Right now I have a grid of power 64 or 2 raised to 6, yeah, 2 raised to 6, 64. For a moment I thought I lost myself there. I can basically, if I create anything, it is powers of like 62, 64, yeah. And as I told you, you can change the grid scale to however smaller. This is 16. So right now, if I've done that by the 2 box brackets on the keyboard next to, on the right of P, the box brackets. So to increase and decrease, the right one, the closing one, is to increase the grid. So right now I'm making the boxes bigger, if you can see. But if I do the smaller one, the left, it becomes smaller. So yeah, right now it's a snap on grid 16. So whatever I do will be moved on the grid of 16, and all of the things will be on the powers of 16. Alright, so snap on grid is done. These parts are done. Then I've talked about, so yeah, if you want to create the block, just place it wherever you want and press enter. Also the texture that is there on this right, you can see current texture. Whatever texture you choose is the one which is by default applied on all the 6 surfaces of the real object. So when you create the real object, there is a texture which is applied on all the 6 surfaces. Right now we're dealing with a block tool. So right now I want to keep it, obviously if you want to create the ground, you just want the top part of the ground to be grass. Everything else you don't care, you just care about the grass, right? So I've gone to my Shift plus A, face edit sheet. From here you can select textures, go to grass, and when you click on, you can choose whatever grass texture you want. These are all powers of 16. To be honest, it's 256 by 256 or 512 by 512, all the textures unit. This is an image, yeah, normal PNG, JPG can be converted to VTFs. VTFs are valve texture files. I'll be coming to that in the future tutorials. So as I've selected this particular texture, you can right click on the surface. You have to do it on the camera only. It does not work on grid. You have to do it there. You right click on whichever surface you want to apply the texture. And whenever you want to create a new block, I would recommend you to use the no draw texture. There is a no draw texture here. So if I want to create yeah, you can also select texture, like if you want the use this grass texture over here, you just select it, so it becomes your current texture. Whichever texture you select, whichever surface you create, becomes the current texture, becomes that, and you right click over here, so to apply it anywhere else. Pretty simple, right? So if I want to apply it here, however I want, you can do whatever you want. All right, and yeah, so whenever you create a block, I would recommend you to take the no draw texture tool and just create it like this. All the surfaces will be in the no draw. No draw means it will be like an invisible wall in game. You won't see it. No draw, don't draw it, so it will not be there. Alright, so I think that's enough for today. If you guys have any doubts, any queries, if you still do not understand anything, you can contact us on our Facebook page. You can come to Teamspeak. There is a channel called CSGO Map Making Workshop. You can go there. There are a lot of administrators there. You can ask them anything you want. And yeah, it's a 7-week. If you guys don't know, it's a 7-week program. 7 weeks of the CSGO Mapping Workshop. This is the first week. Every Monday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. And we also are on the same channel, youtube.com/tractor.tv. We'll be streaming other things like different games, CSGO, Overwatch, Dota, etc. So yeah, so please subscribe to our channel. Click on the bell icon below, so whenever someone is streaming or videos uploaded, you get the notification immediately. So right now, I think that's it for today. If you guys have any doubts, you can always contact us on Steam or Facebook, however you want. All the links are down in the description. And right now I'll be turning off the stream, but if you guys stay tuned, it'll be good because we're gonna play some Overwatch in 5 minutes. So 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Overwatch. Thank you guys so much, and ciao.